What is up, people of YouTube? I'm the wife and I'm here with your host Vernon. This is Veterans Memorial Park Pond. Let's fish that.
Alright, ladies and gents, we made our way out to Boulder City to fish the local park pond here. And if you've been following my videos lately, you'll know that I tried for some carp and we caught some catfish. We tried for some stripers, we got some catfish. So today I'm going to mix it up. We're going to try for some catfish and hopefully we'll get something different. We still have some monsoonal rain that cooled off the temperatures a bit, and we want to try and see if we can find some catfish here in the park pond. They do stock the catfish during summer months, so hopefully there's still some catfish around and we can get on some. We are, of course, 2 licensed anglers, so we're allowed to use 2 rods each. That gives us 4 rods, so we're going to use 4 different setups. But let's have a look at the setups to see what we're going to use out there. Alright, so we got our selection of 4 rods. We're out here late in the afternoon. We're going to try and fish into the evening. Of course, this park is open 24 hours a day, but the facilities close at 10 p.m. That means you cannot fish here throughout the night. At 10 p.m. you need to move out, but that gives us a lot of time to find some catfish, especially when it gets a bit darker. Now, on all 4 rods, I have a simple Carolina rig. But where these 4 rods are going to differ is the hooks we're using and the baits we're putting on those hooks. So let's have a look at that. So the first setup I have a little drop shot hook on there. Simple reason for this, we're going to be putting on some night crawlers on this one. And night crawlers, of course, is a bait that any fish will eat. That's why we're using a bit of a different hook. So if some different fish like a bluegill grabs our baits, this hook will work pretty well for them as well. So this is an all-round type of hook to use. Our second one, we have a little circle hook. This is an ocean style circle hook. Now circle hooks are great for catching catfish. On this one we're going to be putting on some simple hot dogs, getting that out into the water. These are just hot dogs and Kool-Aid, little mixture of that. I'll explain a bit more about our little circle hook in a while and why that's a great way to try and find catfish. But first let's get it baited and into the water. Our third setup, the hook we got on here, that is a kale hook. A kale hook also falls in the grouping of a circle hook because it's kind of at an angle, at 90-degree angle with the shaft of the hook. So it's also kind of a circle hook, but it's a bit of a different profile. Kale hook is a great hook to be using for catfish, especially if you want to tie your baits to the hook. It's just a bit of a longer hook, so you can secure your baits. If you're using something like chicken livers or something, you want to be using a kale hook. And on the final hook, it's also a circle hook, but this one has a little attachment on the side. On this type of hook, we're going to be putting some of the dough baits. It's a great way to secure it to the hook without having it fall off the hook. So we're just going to thread that through and put it on the hook. A great hook to replace a dough hook with, something like a little treble hook, one with a little spring. It's a great way to get your baits onto the little hook and secure it on there. But we're not going to be using treble hooks because if we're trying to keep the fish, we might use some treble hooks, but we don't want to keep any catfish. We'll be releasing them. That is why we're rather going for a circle hook. Circle hook is a great way to release fish safely. No way of gut hooking them with a circle hook. Whereas something like a little treble hook, that's definitely going to damage the fish. So not a good conservation type hook if you want to use a treble hook for catfishing. But it is a great way to get your does to stay on the little hook. So I was planning on using some stinky dough baits for the catfish as well, but these are pretty hard. I'm not thinking I'm going to be able to get them on the hook safely. So rather going to use on the fourth one a mixture between all of the different baits we do have that's working and get that out there as well. Okay, so we got our 4 rods baited and out into the water. We're already getting some hits on our little night crawlers. That is expected from some small fish, something like bluegill. So that's the one that we're going to have to be vigilant on and keep rebaiting. The other 3 rods, however, we're going to leave them soaking out there. We'll wait for some catfish to find our baits. Alright guys, so why are we using circle hooks? Now believe it or not, circle hooks were actually designed for catching big old sailfish out in the ocean. It was designed as a hook to safely release those fish. You don't want a hook that can get stuck in the fish's throat. So circle hooks were made as a great way to kind of prevent fish getting damaged and being able to safely release them. That is why circle hooks work great when catching catfish. They swallow the entire bait and hook, and as soon as they try to get it out, that bait moves out of their mouths and it kind of gets hooked in the corner of the mouth or on the soft lips, and that just kind of gives you the opportunity to release a fish without damaging the fish. So that is why we are using some circle hooks today. We want to release these fish. We're not looking on keeping any catfish today, even though catfish can be quite delicious. I've had some good catfish at Lake Mead on the little marina, the little restaurant they have down there. But overall, I don't like keeping fish. I like to release them, give someone else a chance to catch them as well. And that kind of brings us to the question for the month-long competition. The question for this video is simply, how regularly do you keep fish? I do on occasion keep fish, but I mostly release most of the fish I catch, and I want to hear from you guys. How regularly do you keep fish? How often do you eat fish? Go down in the comments and tell me. Remember, you have to answer all 4 questions in all 4 videos in the month of August to get entered into the competition. Now, I am going to give an additional week for everyone to make sure that they actually do answer all the questions. So we're not going to give the winners next week. We're going to give an extra week just to make sure everyone enters into the competition. All right, but that's enough chit chat. Let's get back to the fishing. All right, so first fish seems to be a little bluegill on our little night crawlers. So at least the wife's not getting skunked today. Tiny little bluegill. That's why we're using a bit of a smaller hook to ensure that we get these fish as well. Alright, so lovely colors on the bluegill. Let's get him back to the water. And off he goes. Alright guys, haven't had much in the way of catfish, but these little night crawlers are working for the small fish. This time around we have a little hybrid. This is not a normal bluegill. So this little fish has a lot bigger mouth than he's supposed to, and these white and yellow fins he have on the bottom, that tells me this is actually a hybrid. He's also quite elongated, so this is probably a bluegill green sunfish hybrid. But good to catch him. Let's get him back to the water. And off he goes. Of course, anywhere where you have bluegill and green sunfish, they will hybridize. Alright, ladies and gents, I think I jinxed it when I said we're going to try for catfish. That means we're going to catch some different fish. And lo and behold, we only got some bluegill out there. No catfish for us tonight. Now it is quite hard to see, but there are quite a lot of people out here fishing. It is, after all, a Saturday evening. A lot of people out here fishing, and not that busy, not many people catching fish. And that is kind of what I wanted to show in this video. Even if you have all the right baits out there, you're not guaranteed to catch any fish. Yes, there are lots of YouTubers that will show you will always catch fish, but that's not how it works. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. Now, talking to some of the other anglers out here, it seems that every once in a while someone will get a fish. 4.2. 4.2, yeah. It's not a bad one. Yeah. So I just wanted to show you this video so you guys at least know that even I don't always catch fish. So there's going to be times that you don't catch fish, but you just need to get out there, keep trying. Eventually you will get on some fish. Alright guys, but I think that's going to be it for this video. I want to thank you guys for following us out here tonight. Feel free to ask any questions down below in the comments, and please do answer the questions down there in the comments as well. Please do give me a little thumbs up for at least trying some fishing. If you're new here, consider hitting the subscribe button, joining my community. Alright, but thank you for watching, and like always, we'll see you next time.